The South African National Roads Agency, better known as SANRAL, has been in the news for many of the wrong reasons, such as e-tolling. Today, however, we plan to change that by bringing you a story on their transformation manager, Ismail Essa, and how he plans to effect meaningful change. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to An Nur the Light.
The South African National Road Agency Limited is tasked with care, maintenance and development of the country's road system. With a budget in excess of 15 billion rand, it is in a unique position to ensure effective participation of black companies through empowerment and has hired Ismail Essa to oversee this.
The construction industry is dominated by a small number of very big construction companies, and the same with the consulting companies. These are, as traditionally have been white-owned. And this led to the sort of funny business that happened around the World Cup. So essentially the government wants to roll out a lot of projects. That's the intention, to improve the infrastructure, improve the services and roll out services to the various communities that need these services like water, sewer and things like that, including roads. The essential part is that one cannot continue with such a small domination. If you look at the spend in the construction industry, the value of 90% of the total infrastructure spend is by about 20 companies. And these 20 companies dominate the field. So the essential thing is first to break that dominance or make the cake bigger so that we can get more participants in the industry. And secondly, a lot of the work in the industry is subcontracted. So we need a lot more subcontractors. So an evolution from small contractors who are essentially subcontractors in the beginning of their existence, and they can grow to become bigger contractors with time.
Ismail is a qualified civil engineer and has served in various capacities at SANRAL for over 14 years. Before that, he serviced major listed companies and will use this experience to create a framework for the empowerment of black contractors and suppliers.
There's a number of different initiatives we have to roll out. One is first to change our tender documents. So we force what we call structured joint venturing. So we ask the big guy that he must bring in some small participants to do up to a certain percentage of the work. Currently we're using 20%. So you must use what you see, the Construction Industry Development Board grades contractors from grade 1 to 9. 9 are the biggest ones and 1 are the smallest, or the new entrants. So we say to them, take grades 5s, 6 and 7s, and you must share 20% with them of the total value. Now if you look at some of our average projects are 300 million. So 20% is a huge sum, 60 million in round terms.
The road to transform this industry is going to be long and filled with potholes, but Ismail is determined to see it through. Real economic transformation can and will happen under this new plan, but it will require partnerships which SANRAL will manage for the short term to ensure quality is maintained.
We've deprived about 80% of our people for the opportunities. So I see this as leveling the playing fields. And in order to level the playing fields, you got to advantage the previously disadvantaged above the current guys. So you're going to have to give them a little bit more to get a leg up. And at some stage, we'll have to level out the playing field completely. And that's not a 10-year or 20-year thing. It's going to be probably 30 or 40 years it will take before we get there. But the issue is that we have a very competitive business culture and a very good business sort of ethic amongst the previously white people. But that's not the same amongst the black people. So what we have in South Africa, we have an English business culture, we have an Afrikaans business culture, we have an Indian business culture, and we have sort of a black business culture. What we need is we need a South African business culture. And that's what my main objective is, to get us to that point.
This may be a corporate environment with high stakes in place for all, but it's to Islam that Ismail turns when making decisions that could affect the lives of so many people. His principled stance is deeply rooted in his religious beliefs.
Values that I bring of Islam is that my intention is never to oppress anybody. That's the first thing that we thought in Islam, that oppressing people is not allowed, and we're not to look down on people or discriminate against them in any way. So that's the most important value. Secondly, the value of honesty. We must conduct our business, conduct ourselves in an honest and integral way, so that the integrity is always upheld, and assist people wherever possible, especially poor people, people that are having difficulties, whether they're poor or not. If they're having difficulties, if you're in a position to assist, then you assist. So based on those values, broad values, is basically why I think I can make a difference in this transformation thing on the principles of Islam that I've just said.
Analysts and political commentators have long said that for effective radical economic transformation to take place, government should put their money where their mouth is. SANRAL, as an arm of government, is doing just that, and Ismail Essa stands at the helm of implementing this.
We are staying in Gauteng for this week's Street Style segment. If you know of anyone who fits the bill of being modest yet fashionable, then please let us know. We are always looking for new people to feature.
My style is very chic, so I like what's trending at the moment, but I always keep in mind a critical eye because not everything suits another person. So depending on your physique, it's all about what appeals to you.
When it comes to my style, well, as you can see, I dress Islamic, but then I always have a balance between not going completely fashionistic and not completely Islamic also. To style off, might put on a scarf now and then, or my hair, do it up now and then.
Okay, my outfit today is a plain black court shoe with a high-waisted pant which is customized by me, and just a plain top with patches on the side and a plain scarf. So I'm keeping it simple and chic.
When it comes to accessories, I don't myself go anything extravagant. It's more as if a normal kurta that I'd be wearing, or a different color scarf depending on my mood on that day. And then my topi, it's normal Islamic headgear.
Being a Muslim woman, there's a lot of rules and regulations regarding the dress code for women, and yes, it can be restricting, but it's what you make of it, and what you can always put together a piece that is within the Islamic dress code. You don't necessarily have to be not unfashionable. You can still wear hijab, be fashionable, and look good at the same time.
My Islamic style does not restrict me in any way. It's more sort of a reminder for myself, so I know as to what my boundaries are, because in Islam there are certain boundaries and restrictions which you cannot go over. So in a way, dressing like this helps me be a Muslim and also be who I want to be.
I plan my style every morning when I wake up. Luckily for me, I have a variety that I can choose from. It does get tricky sometimes. I have to collaborate fashion with hijab. Bringing the two together makes a woman more confident.
A friend of mine used to always tell me, no matter what you do in life, make sure you do it looking good.
Allah says in the Holy Quran, "We have not created the heavens and the earth and all that is between them carelessly. We have not created them but for truth." As human beings, we are entrusted with this earth and should take more care rather than destroy it. This then is the topic for our next story.
Surah Al-Hijr verse 19 and 20 proclaims, "And the earth we have spread it out, and made in it mountains standing firm, and grown in it everything in balance. And we have provided in it sustenance for you and for those whom you do not support. Clearly, this is a sign from the Creator that we as humans are the custodians of nature and should take care of it in the best possible way."
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this beautiful universe, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us as insan, as mankind, the vicegerents, the ones who will protect the beautiful earth Allah has created for us, because this dunya, this earth that we are living on, it's a means of our livelihood. It is the beauty in the creation of Allah where we should recognize who our Creator is. It's our purpose to recognize the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in nature. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to, as He mentioned in the Quran, a verse where He says that وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, that from Allah's signs, there are many signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but from His majestic signs and from His signs are indeed the creation of the heavens and earth. So the entire creation of earth, the entire creation of heavens are signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showing and indicating to us the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
South Africa is blessed abundantly with its diverse fauna and flora, from rolling mountains to green hills stretching out as far as the eye can see. A kaleidoscope of colors unfold before the eyes, and the majesty of God is revealed to all who stare upon it.
My first impression when I came here as well was the beauty of nature. The beautiful trees and everything that you see around you, oceans and everything. As you drive along the garden route already, very beautiful greenery and nature that we are witnessing. There in PE is quite a few places that I myself has heard of, that our Muslims especially, that I think it's a yearly camp that they go to every holidays, December holidays. The Muslims go out in their numbers and they camp along the beach at Skoonies.
The earth is, however, suffering as human beings plunder it for resources. Every human being should be concerned, as we are seeing the effects of this slowly but surely. Water levels are low in certain parts of the country. Seasons are erratic and new challenges are being faced annually for a number of industries that rely on nature.
As Muslims, our duty is to recognize the qudrah and the power of Allah in His creation, and also most importantly, to recognize His oneness and His greatness within His creation. It's our duty to educate one another as well, with regards to our environment, with regards to nature, educate our families at home, educate our children, and also educate our pupils at school, learners in school. And like that, we build a beneficial or a meaningful society that will make sure, or that ensure the safety and of the environment and of nature, inshallah.
During the golden era of Islam and the last true caliphate, Muslims were at the forefront of finding solutions as well as inventing systems to better the lives of all. There needs to be call for today's Muslims to once again aspire to the golden era and get involved. While there are some organizations who try, a lot more needs to be done.
We are part of the environment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the environment. It is part of our deen to respect this. It is part of our religion to actively take part in anything natural. I think the very first part as we as Muslims usually start off is from our Quran. And I think when we read the Quran and you really engage in the meanings, the very first place, and this is actually revealed in Mecca when the Prophet ﷺ just started off, before there was complications of the Jews involved, before there was complications of starting up a whole city. The very first thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the people is, look at your nature, look around you, look at the creation, look at the rain. This is where I am, and this is where you will find me.
The future of our children depends on the interventions we can make today. Start off small, but grow your own footprint in conserving our environment as much as possible. We are forbidden by Allah to abuse the earth, so let's do our bit to conserve it for all.
Please bear in mind that we are custodians of this earth and should consider the balance we need to aim for in order to gain from our surroundings. Next up is our Books, Tech and App segment.
Sheikh Abdurrahim Salih was a prolific scholar who authored around 28 books on a variety of topics regarding Islam. The book on marriage is one such publication and gives the reader a complete understanding of all there is to know about marriage in Islam. Topics covered include the hukum of the nikah, which is makruh, wajib, haram, sunnah, sharia allowed sexual intercourse, violence in marriage, the arkans and shuruts of nikah, the dua to be made by the husband when he has sexual relations with his wife, the rules pertaining to the zuj, the divisions of the wali, wali mujbir, wali khairu mujbir, and prerogatives, the discussion of the tawkil, the walima, wedding banquet, the hukum of photography and singing, the nikahs which are regarded as batil, the discussion of what ush shubaha or ash shiha, and a glossary. The Islamic calendar follows a lunar cycle, and as such, it is very different from the Gregorian calendar which we all use. For those who'd like to include Hijri dates on their calendar, there's an easy-to-follow website that shows you how. Go to ilmfeed.com and follow the instructions. ILM Feed also has other cool stuff such as emojis that you can download directly onto your phone. These emojis are now available with the latest updates. Al-Quran Urdu Translation is a smart Android application which is intended for Urdu-speaking people, offering an easy-to-use interface with Urdu translation, transliteration, and audio MP3 recitation of all surahs of the full Quran Kareem. The application is embedded with several features that are beautifully designed to ensure a pleasant Quran reading experience. All audio files are the complete sets of the Holy Quran, along with an Urdu verse-by-verse translation. You have the choice of either listening via audio streaming from the internet, or you can download the files to your device.
For those of you in your last few years of school, please consider looking at tech and apps as a career path. Our everyday lives have become much simpler because of it, and some people are making good money doing this. Lamise du Toit is waiting to show us how to make her panko and chicken parmesan.
Assalamu alaikum. In my household, we love cheese. It's one of our favorite things to eat, whether it's cheddar, whether it's mozzarella, whether it is parmesan sprinkled over pasta, or just plain old toasted cheddar cheese sandwiches. We love our cheese, and hence the recipe I'll be sharing with you today. And today I'm going to be making thin chicken strips crusted in a parmesan and breadcrumb mix that you shallow fry in some olive oil and serve with a delicious caprese salad. What's nice about this, it's a good snack to have. And I don't mean a lunchtime or a dinner snack, I mean sort of a mid-meal snack or on a hot summer's day. So to start, I'm going to take you through my ingredients, and all that I have is chicken fillets that I've cut into thin strips. So you can either strip them the way I have here. The other option is to just sliver them so that you've got bigger, rounder portions. I've got some cornflake breadcrumbs. The better alternative to this would be panko breadcrumbs. I've got some egg to dip our chicken in. I've got some parmesan that we're going to be mixing with our breadcrumbs. I've got black pepper, but that's just to season the salad. I've got some balsamic and olive oil that I've just mixed together. I've got fresh slices of lovely tomatoes. And then I've got basil, which I'm very proud to say comes from my tree. So homegrown basil leaves and some slices of fresh mozzarella. So first things first, we're going to mix our cornflake crumbs. And to this, I'm going to add grated Parmesan cheese. So that's a good mix over there. So I've got my egg mix and chicken. And when you do this part, you're wanting to push the crumbs down so they actually stick and form a nice coating around here. So chicken fillets go into the egg and into your breadcrumb mix. So remember, when you put it into the mix, to push down on your chicken fillet so you can get it to stick. If you're going to be using bigger chicken portions, then lightly fry them in your pan and finish it off in the oven, because you don't want your cheese to burn. And also, if you use this on a more sizable piece of chicken, in fact, you can even use chicken pieces for this. Lightly fry them off in the pan after you've coated them and stick them in the oven on like 200 degrees and just let them bake until they're done, which should take about 40 minutes. So I'm going to pop in my first few pieces. Preferably use a non-stick pan. Not that any pan in this day and age is ever non-stick for more than a week, but we do try. And immediately as the fillets hit the heat and that parmesan starts to melt, you get that smell of toasted cheese, and that's what makes this yummy. You know how when you make toasted cheese and bits of the cheese ooze out and they hit the bottom of the pan and they just start to melt and they form what my kids call the crusty bits? That is what the topping on this chicken fillets tastes like. So you get that soft chicken on the inside and that crunchy, cheesy flavors on the outside. Delish. And these, believe it or not, are done. So let me get these out of the way and get these on my board. Okay, so while those last few are going, I'm gonna put together my caprese salad. And all that we do here is literally alternate slices of tomato, always a pretty basil leaf, a slice of mozzarella, and just keep going all the way down your plate. What I love about this salad, it's almost a taste of Italy, I suppose. The parmesan, the basil, the buffalo mozzarella. Everything that's yummy and decadent and light and fresh, and you don't feel stuffed after you've eaten it. Nor do you feel quite as guilty as you should. And now, this is just balsamic vinegar and olive oil that I've mixed together. Light drizzle of this all the way along the top. Just a little bit of acid to cut through all of that cheesiness. Sprinkling of black pepper. Nearly there. And these are all done. And this is the best part about this, is how easy it is to make, to plate. I can guarantee you, even easier to eat. And so, there you have it, my taste of Italy. Parmesan crusted chicken and salad caprese. So until I see you next time, assalamu alaikum.
Not only does that dish sound delicious, but I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say that it looks oh so yummy too. Really need to keep my carb intake in check, but that meal has me drooling. Don't forget to tune in next week for another exciting and informative episode. From me, Maria Mukwanda, Salang Handle, Assalamu alaikum.